eat the chalk? Susie then threatens us, decides to let us go, and we enter the supply closet. And what do you know, the door gets locked behind us and we enter another world. While making my way through the dark world, chat fills me in on a few things. Apparently, it's a common misconception that Deltarune is a sequel to Undertale, when really it's like a alternate reality. And I was also told about Deltarune's release schedule. The game is supposed to have 7 chapters in total, 4 of which are already out, and those are the ones I'm playing. And it's done this way because the chapters just take an insane amount of time to make. Anyways, we meet up with Susie, fall down a waterfall, and end up reaching Castletown. Here we meet a mysterious dude who tells us the legend of Deltarune. Oh my god, he said the title of the game! Yeah, the legend of Deltarune is a prophecy. It speaks of how the light and dark are in balance, and if this were to change, a terrible calamity would occur. The sky would turn black, the land will crack, but to stop this, 3 heroes appear: a human, a monster, and a prince from the dark. The human could be Chris, the monster could be Susie, and the prince from the dark, well, it might be the dude telling us the prophecy, Ralze. So let's go save the world. Wait, never mind, we're in a battle. We're attacked by a silly little guy named Lancer, and this gives me a chance to quickly explain the battle system. I'll be fast. Like in Undertale, you don't have to attack to progress the game. You can win battles by being nice and talking to people, so that's what I'm gonna do. Lancer runs away, Ralze introduces himself, and I instantly notice something. Wait! I noticed something! If you rearrange the words of Ralze, you could get Asriel, right? Asriel was the main villain of Undertale. Maybe this will be important, I don't know. But Susie runs off and we gotta find her. After doing some puzzles and running into Lancer a few times, we finally find Susie and convince her to join the party. Now, at this point, I'm not really sure what Lancer is. He's not really a villain, but he's also not a friend. He's kind of just there. Like, at one point, he asked for our team name and we don't have one, so I take Susie's suggestion. I don't think I'm allowed to say this one. No! And moments like these are just what Deltarune is all about. It has some of the funniest dialogue I've ever seen in a game, and the best part is, it gets funnier. This whole time I've been trying to talk to my enemies to save them, and Susie doesn't like that plan, she just wants to attack them. So she leaves the party again and joins Lancer. So after more puzzles and battling and meeting this guy, we end up catching back up to Lancer and Susie. They end up battling us, and we end up winning with the power of friendship. Kinda. Ralze just has the ability to put people to sleep. After that, Susie joins the party again, and Lancer becomes cool. He's now our friend. And never mind, this whole time we've been trying to get to a castle, and once we get there, Lancer runs off, we get cornered, and get put in jail. Susie comes in clutch though by fighting Lancer and freeing us from our cell. Oh yeah, I also ate some moss while I was in the cell. This game is peak. We find an elevator that goes to floor ? So I head there, and in it is a prisoner. Despite being in the cell, he's claiming that he's free, and he says we can play a game if we find a key. So I backtrack a little, I solve a few puzzles, I talk to the shopkeeper. By the way, shout out chat for helping me without really spoiling, and eventually we head back to the cell with the key in hand. Waiting inside is Jevil, the secret boss of chapter 1. Now up until now, the game's been pretty easy, I'm not gonna lie. So I was surprised when he killed me, but that's when I knew I had to lock in. Some of his attacks are really hard to dodge, and you have to stay alive for a decent amount of time until he gets tired for you to win the fight. But somehow I managed to beat him on my second attempt. And this is the exact point where I knew that I was gonna have a ton of fun with this game. Because we were acting instead of attacking, we actually got a cool piece of armor when we beat him, so I knew I was fully ready for the final boss of chapter 1. It was time to fight Lancer's dad, the owner of the castle, King. And I won't lie, we kind of kicked his ass. He was nothing compared to Jevil. But moving on, it's time to save the world by sealing the Dark Fountain. Before that though, Ralze decides to face reveal. The teacher? That is not the teacher. I don't know what I was on, and I didn't know it yet, but this guy would end up becoming one of my favorite characters in the game. He's just so marketable. Anyways, we seal the Dark Fountain and end up in the supply closet at school. Susie looks at us and says, let's meet back here tomorrow. From here on out, she is our friend, and she has some of the best development I've seen in a game. While leaving the school, our mom calls and says she was worried about us and tells us to come home, so I go home. After talking to a skeleton, an onion, and my dad, who is divorced from my mom and doesn't even live at home. We head upstairs to go to sleep, and I'm just thinking, wow, what a fun, charming, peaceful game. Then Chris gets out of bed, rips their heart from their own body, puts the heart in a cage, then pulls out a knife and stares at the camera. That's the end of chapter 1. What? The next day, I start the stream for chapter 2, and I am just so excited. In the story, we go to school and actually finish an entire school day. After class, Susie's like, hey, was all of that real? And we walk towards the supply closet when our classmate Noelle stops us and invites us to study at the library. So we'll go there after one thing. We go to check on Rose, and Castletown is empty. So I go to the light world, go to the classroom where we returned in chapter 1, and gather all the game stuff so I can bring it back. When I do, everyone appears, even Lancer. When we eventually leave the dark world, Lancer becomes a playing card in my pocket. This implies that every single person in the dark world is based off a real object in the light world. These people are also known as Darkners, while people like Susie and Chris from the light world are known as Lightners. Yeah, luckily they made it pretty easy to understand. Enough lore though, when we go to meet Noelle in the library, we see that the room in the back contains another dark world. So we jump in and the fun continues. After walking for a bit, we see a distressed Noelle. But before we can save her, she gets captured by Queen, the villain of chapter 2, who's honestly really funny. And as we're about to leave to save Noelle, an old friend shows up. Yes! The goat! Literally, the GOAT. And so, with our team united, we enter Cyber World. I believe I said this on stream, but just the atmosphere and the look of this place was so cool. I think here is where the game actually passed Undertale for me, which is crazy considering the best moments haven't even happened yet. We find Noelle and confront Queen as she challenges us to a game of Punch-Out. So I channel my inner Little Mac and I win, but she still takes Noelle, which means we gotta keep going. So after some more puzzles, riding teacups, and battling a lot of enemies, we find ourselves on a roller coaster, and I see something that I am not expecting. Noelle. No, I'm just kidding. I was fully expecting that. We see Birdly. They got Falco! The smartass kid from the beginning of the game. I call him Falco because he just straight up looks like Falco from Super Smash Bros. Melee. Yes, that's the game he's from. And after a bit of yapping, Birdly battles us, and I'm not gonna lie, his battle theme is unfortunately a banger. Still though, we end up beating him. Unfortunately though, the tracks we're riding on run out, and we fall down. Thankfully though, a pile of Overwatch was there to save us. We keep moving when we find a fork in the road and have to choose between going with Rose or Susie, but I forget that I'm playing Deltarune, and my choices do not matter. Looks like we're on our own. After walking through the city a bit and dodging traffic, we eventually find Noelle. My chat urges me to make 2 saves here, and since I'm from the future, I can say that I did. If you don't know, this is where the game can split into 2 different routes. There's the normal route, which this video will continue on with, and there's the weird route, which makes the story and a lot of the character interactions much darker. The playthrough of that will be on the second channel, but for now we need to proceed. Noelle gets into her first battle and doesn't know what to do, so the enemy helps her out, and if we're nice to you, we can win through mercy? Yeah. And after letting her get the hang of the dark world and dodging even more traffic, we meet this guy, who offers us some dating shoes. And of course, we turn them down. See, Noelle and Chris are actually very close in the real world, and not in the dating way. Not only are they neighbors, but both of their families talk a lot. For example, Noelle's dad is in the hospital and Asgore leaves him flowers. So Noelle isn't a love interest in this game, but who she does like is Susie. When y'all read an advertisement for a Ferris wheel, she wonders if Susie would ride with her. I accidentally said no, she wouldn't, and I felt really bad. But then we run into Queen, and she's looking for Noelle. Then this happens. What is this? And he's wearing Crocs. Birdly interrupts us with his stupid ass statue, and by now I really don't like Birdly. He would be better off stuck in a freezer. Anyways, we continue on through the city, and